Namaste, welcome. In this video, I'll be discussing regarding pollination in black pepper, that is Piper nigrum. Hopefully, this video will be of some use to the students of horticulture or other agricultural sciences who are directly or indirectly related with the crop, and may be also useful to some extent to the growers and maybe to all those researchers who are involved in black pepper, especially the breeders. Let's see. So, actually, uh, if you see the evolution of black pepper, the genus Piper nigrum, in its wild forms or the wild types of piper, they are dioecious in nature, means we have separate male and female plants. The reproductive organs of male are born on one plant and the reproductive organs of the female are born on the other plant. So, and as expected, flowers are unisexual. Whereas in case of cultivated pepper, so which is predominantly monoecious type, means we can see both the sexes, male and female reproductive organs on the same plant. So here the flowers are predominantly bisexual, which is very common, or sometimes we can also see the more of female flowers as witnessed in case of Cheria cania cardan, and also the male flowers are also present to a maximum extent of 5%, which is seen in Karimunda. So all other flowers are hermaphrodite flowers. So this is the composition of flowers in case of dioecious and monoecious plants. Understanding of this is crucial to know more about the pollination and breeding behavior, which will be useful in breeding black pepper. So here the images I have given the close-up view of the spike, and also the central image is that of Tekkan pepper, which is having branched spike, which is a natural mutant. Otherwise, spike or catkin is the uh, inflorescence in case of pepper, which is very common. Now, if you see the different possibilities of pollination, so in case of a variety, consider its name as A, and one plant which is also A, the spike A, flower A. So if the pollination happens within the flower, bisexual flower, same flower, so it is nothing but autogamy. We call it as self pollination. Other possibility is the same variety, in the same plant, in the same spike, if the pollination happens between different flowers of the same spike, say A into B, it's also kind of self pollination. We call it as geitonogamy. Or there is another possibility is between different inflorescences or catkins of the same plant. That's also like self pollination, geitonogamy. So the genetic consequences of autogamy and geitonogamy are same. Absolutely, there is no difference. So the other possibility is, suppose we have variety A, but we have different plants of the same variety, like in a clonal garden. If it is planted in isolation, if the pollination happens between different plants of the same clone, so that is also kind of self pollination, but sometimes it may be called as inter se mating, so which is useful in getting the pure seeds, especially in seed production. So, but in pepper, as it is predominantly vegetatively propagated, it doesn't matter. So, otherwise, inter se is nothing but, so in the same clone, pollination happens between two plants. It's also technically cross pollination, but otherwise, it is also like self pollination. So, the other chance is cross pollination between two different varieties, so which is cross pollination, also called as allogamy. So the pictures below represents the self pollination and also cross pollination. Self pollination within the same flower or between the flowers in the same plant, as I already mentioned in case of geitonogamy. So otherwise, if it is between flowers of different plants, it is cross pollination. More so if there are two different varieties. If the variety is same, even if cross pollination happens, it is more like intersemating. Of course, it is natural, not man made. So understanding these possibilities is of crucial importance in understanding the floral biology or breeding behavior of this black pepper, black gold rather. Now, so geitonogamy is more common in case of pepper, that is between different flowers within the same plant or within the same spike or between different spikes in the same plant. So that is geitonogamy. So if you see some of the aspects which contributes for the geitonogamy, which includes one is positive geotropism, okay, the arrangement, spatial arrangement of flowers one below the other, so helping in the dispersal of the pollen from top to the lower regions through the help of wind or gravity. So then sequential maturity of stigmas. All stigmas are not mature at once. So that also aids in geitonogamy. And of course, there is a continuous anther dehiscence, non-chronological anther dehiscence, which is, all these parameters ultimately lead to geitonogamy. ನಾವು ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ ಗೈಟಿನೋಗ್ಯಾಮಿ ಏನು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬೋದು ಅಂದರೆ ಒಂದೇ ಗಿಡದ ಹೂವಿನ ಪರಾಗ ಅದೇ ಗಿಡದ ಇತರೆ ಹೂವನ್ನು ಪರಾಗಸ್ಪರ್ಶಿಸಿದ್ರೆ ಆ ಪ್ರಕ್ರಿಯೆಗೆ ನಾವು ಗೈಟಿನೋಗ್ಯಾಮಿ ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ. ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ನಥಿಂಗ್ ಬಟ್ ಸೆಲ್ಫ್ ಪಾಲಿನೇಷನ್. ದ ಜೆನೆಟಿಕ್ ಕಾನ್ಸಿಕ್ವೆನ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಆಟೋಗ್ಯಾಮಿ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಗೈಟಿನೋಗ್ಯಾಮಿ is one and the same. There is absolutely no difference. So geitonogamy is the major mode of pollination in case of black pepper, which is almost same as that of self pollination. Therefore, so this particular kind is of immense importance as far as pollination of Piper nigrum is concerned. So let's move on. So some of the important points one should note as far as floral biology or pollination or breeding behavior of black pepper is concerned. The peak flowering season is in May to June. So that is coinciding with the monsoon. So rain stigma receptivity, once after the anthesis, once it becomes receptive, it will be receptive for nearly 7 to 10 days with a peak receptivity during 3 to 5 days after opening. So as far as period of anthesis is concerned, around 8 to 10 days. So if you see the number of flowers per spike ranging from 50 to 150. So anthesis timing, if you see, so 18 hours to 18:30 hours, that is 6 to 6:30 hours. So anther dehiscence in the afternoon 2:30 to say around 3:30 or so, almost 1 hour. So if you see the flowering to maturity period, it takes nearly 6 to 7 months from flowering to maturity to become mature, so that we can harvest the spike or the berries. And pollen viability is short, nearly 5 to 10 hours. All these are extremely important as far as the students, especially the plant breeders or those who are involved in developing varieties in black pepper are concerned. Even these points may be of some use to the pepper growers. The basic understanding of its pollination behavior helps in resorting to some management aspects, which will ultimately helps in improving the productivity of black pepper. If we see the different pollinating agents and their role, so I have listed few here. Of course, gravity, definitely the pollen will from the top to bottom, So it comes down, of course, because of gravity. So that's a major thing. And of course, wind will helps in shaking the pollen and bringing it down on the stigmatic surface of the flowers which are on the lower plane. And rainwater is also having some role as experimented, but it is not an absolute necessity as a pollinating agent. But if there is a rain, so the set will be better. So insects, the chances are very less. We cannot rule out, but in some of the experiments conducted, so when they have done pollination in the cages, insect proof cages, the setting was really better. So therefore not much importance has been given to insect pollination. Of course, sometimes the human beings, maybe students who are involved in hybridization or studying pollination behavior of the crop, or the breeders who are involved in developing varieties, so they might also aid in pollinating pepper flowers. So these are the um, all possible agents which can affect the pollination in case of black pepper. So therefore, wind, gravity are the major ones, and to some extent rainwater. So, but rainwater is not an absolute necessity. But if there is a rain, so definitely the spike set and the berry set was slightly better, as indicated by several research workers. So to understand this aspect still better, so one of the studies conducted by Sasi Kumar and his co-workers in 1990s at IASR, so they have studied the various they have performed various treatments. They include the bagging of the spikes, bagging followed by hand pollination, then open pollination or natural pollination is one of the treatments. Then water-free pollination to understand the role of rain or water. And similarly, insect-proof cage pollination to understand the role of insects in pollination of pepper. Then emasculation and backing to study if there is any kind of apomixis or so. So and also to study the total autogamy or self-pollination extent in case of pepper. So they have taken three varieties: Karimunda, which is quite popular in Kerala; Panur one, which is most popular in Karnataka; of course, another local type, Empyrean. So they have performed the treatments and they have observed the various parameters with respect to spike set and berry set. The values given in the bracket indicates uh, the berry set percentage. Let's see. So either only bagging followed by hand pollination, and in open pollination, in all the cases, spike set is absolute. That is 100% spike set is there. But if you see the berry set percentage, in case of bagging, in Karimunda it is 66, bagging followed by hand pollination it is 64, open pollination 77. Out of these three methods, bagging, hand pollination, and then open pollination, certainly in open pollination, the berry set is on higher side, so indicating so it's more adapted for open pollination, irrespective of the varieties, whether it is Karimunda or Panur or Empyrean. In all the cases, in open pollination, berry set is on higher side. Now, to understand the role of rainwater, which is mentioned as one of the as hydrophily by several authors, so they have also performed water-free pollination. So there was a slight reduction in both spike set and berry set. In case of Karimunda, the berry set was 53. In Panur it is 66%. In Empyrean it is 51% respectively. Whereas the berry set in these three varieties, especially when water-free pollination is done, so it is compared to bagging hand pollination and open pollination, it is certainly less. See here, 36% berry set in Karimunda, 60% in case of Panur 1, Empyrean it is 50%, very low in case of Karimunda. So means the role of rain, as I already mentioned, is not absolutely necessary, but in presence of rain, so definitely the berry set percentage is on higher side. So as mentioned, as indicated by open pollination, means definitely there will be a rain which is not prevented. As far as to understand the role of insects in pepper pollination, they of course studied only in case of Empyrean. So here also they got nearly 77% spike set and 54% berry set, indicating insects are also not an absolute necessity. So we also know about this bush pepper. It flowers and fruits throughout the year. So during non-rainy season also we can get excellent flowers and fruits. Even if you grow bush pepper inside a rainproof shelter, so there is a wonderful flowering and fruit set. So which also confirms rain is not an absolute necessity. But if there is a rain during peak pollination period, definitely it improves the berry set percentage. Therefore, the farmers during peak flowering, in the absence of rain, if they give a sprinkler irrigation, so that will definitely help in improving the the berry set, spike set, and ultimately the yield per vine or the productivity per vine. That's the message. So as we understood all these things, these are all extremely important considerations one should have. So the overall, if you see or if you review the research done in this line, so we can, the take home message regarding pepper pollination is it is predominantly self pollination is the rule, with occasional outcrossing. Of course, outcrossing individuals may also help in creating variability and giving some option for choosing variable seedlings, which if performs better with unique characteristics may be helpful in releasing a new variety. But otherwise, as far as pollination is concerned, so self pollination is the rule, and more so the geitonogamy, what we call, is the major one. So that's in brief about pepper pollination. If students or viewers have any doubt, any queries, they can come back to me in the form of comments, or they can directly contact me. I am available at College of Horticulture, Bangalore, which is one of the constituent colleges of University of Horticulture Sciences, Bagalkot. Thanks for watching. Namaste. Goodbye. See you in the next.